I'm Dr. Kawaljeet Singh, presently working as Director, University Computer Center, Punjabi University, Patiala. Today, the topic of my discussion is web browsers. This is a topic to be covered up in paper 2 of New Media Technology. This is for MA Journalism and Mass Communication Part 2. Let me tell you, you see one thing, that wars, basically they mean that something very wrong. But once a while, they may happen to be produce some very, very good results. There was a Cold War. This Cold War was between Eastern Bloc countries and Western industrialized nations. And what was so important over there, that it was a time where there has been found out a big significant technology advancement in the form of electronics and many other fields. This is basically the threat of possible attack by the enemy. This was enough for motivation to the countries to heavily invest in the advancement of technology. What we see over today is that this war is mercifully over, and the world is utilizing the fruits of technology, advancement achieved during that period. Even today's information technology is also being considered to be the research and development efforts which have been put long way back in that era of Cold War. Let me explain you that how the internet has come into existence. Long way back in 1969, it was a brilliant idea that has come up into the mind of some researchers to come up with a very robust communication technology. The project is known as ARPANET. Now in this project, the 4 laboratories have been linked up. 3 were there in California, 1 is in Utah. And this allowed the scientists and engineers to test networking technology. This network, which was limited to the 4 laboratories, immediately spanned to the whole landmass of USA, and later it was known as Internet. Now this is considered to be the most reliable part of networking, because it is based on the concept of dynamic rerouting. What does this mean? The dynamic rerouting means that if one of the network links or computers were to become disrupted by enemy attack, the traffic on it would automatically be rerouted to other links. Now, Internet is considered to be the most modern era mass media topology. This is a topology which allows even communicating with somebody in Antarctica or in Greenland, where you will find out that no other mass media topology can work. I want to take you to the book written by Dr. Tapan Bhattacharya. In his book, The Shrinking Universe, published by the National Book Trust of India, he illustrates the importance of communication technology onto the modern era community. He has defined that modern communication hardware in the form of satellites and transceivers and internet linked together is enveloping the whole of the world today. The ultimate result is that nobody is on the island. Billions of persons, they are communicating, they are sharing data and information through millions of computers connected on networks, through number of satellites, fiber optical cable and other communication media world around. All the segments of this modern era universe are interwoven and interlinked together with the facilities of communication technologies. So nobody is on the island. You go over to the Greenland, you go over to the Antarctica, if you have got internet connectivity, you see, say, a connection can be made. Knowledge dissemination and learning, these are the 2 important things which are very important in today's life. Now these have been dependent on mass media topologies. Till today, we have seen so many mass media topologies which have come into existence and evolved over the centuries that have benefited the universe in a big way. Now these mass media topologies are direct media. Direct media is face-to-face conversation, speeches, lectures, and public speaking. It took so many years to develop. Written media, it is available in the form of text, scripts, notes, memos, and manuscripts. Again, it took hundreds of years to come up to its fullest of extent. Print media. Print media is books, journals, magazines, newspapers, brochures, leaflets. One can very easily make it out that how much time they have taken up. Wireless media, it took 30 to 40 years to come up in the form of radio waves, radios, transistors, and so many. Film media, film strips, silent films to movie films which are available today. It took almost 80 years. Telecommunication, telephones, intercoms, fax, voicemail, almost it took 40 years. Computer media in the form of multimedia, bulletin boards, teleconferences, still it is evolving. But internet, this is considered to be the biggest ever mass media topology, cheapest among all those, and it took just 5 to 10 years to span the whole world. Now the knowledge sharing started with satellite links has been further enhanced with the help of internet. Internet is available to the world community in many appearances. It can be email, it can be bulletin board services, it can be internet telephony, it can be internet talk radio, or so many. World Wide Web is one among such facilities where this is one of the very important and fundamental internet services of internet. This is based on client-server system. In this system of World Wide Web, a client program is over there which assesses which makes contacts with a server program which runs on another computer somewhere on the internet. Basically, it is a web client that communicates with the web server. From the beginning, web clients are known as web servers. The name is good enough in the sense that many people used web browsers for browsing only, so that's why the name in itself, it's very descriptive, so that's why it's web browsers. What is happening over here is that a user is working on a web page. He can have so many text and images with him. Now these text and images can have further hyperlinks to another web pages. Those web pages are available on the same site or some another website. Some mechanism is required to surf around these hyperlinks, and these are the browsers which are going to help the users to access information very quickly and very easily, provided on many web pages at same website or traversing, or these web pages are available on different websites. The basic thing is that we have to traverse the hyperlinks. Some of the web browsers available on personal computers are Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Safari, Opera, and Netscape. The market share in August 2007 has been found out to be that Internet Explorer is up to 78.68%, Firefox is 14.56%, Safari is 4.68%, and others are also occupying a big chunk of this market. Now let me make it clear that what does this relative percentage means in absolute terms. One thing that is worth mentionable is that 90% of the market in the year 1997 would amount to be roughly 60 million users. But if we are talking of 9% in 2007, this may amount to be equate over to be 90 million users. Although browsers are typically used to access the World Wide Web, but they can also be used to access information provided by web servers in private networks or file systems, contents of file systems. Web browsers, basically they follow the format of HTML to display the information. So how the web browsers are working on HTML formats, it is very important. The one page in one browser may be altogether different from another page in another browser. The best way to understand the browser is to follow their history. The first ever web server is the Nextcube. It was developed by Tim Berners and Lee. They were the pioneer to use the hypertext for sharing information. And what they did, that they used the World Wide Web as the web server, web client, and it was the first effort has been made by them in the year 1990. The first browser, actual browser, was Silversmith. It was created by John Bottoms in 1987. It followed HTML tags. Now this was the era which was the shift in electronic publishing. Of course, it was met with considerable resistance. Now it included the features which are not even included in today's browsers. Now these features are integrated indexer, full text searches, hypertext links between images, text and sound, ability to restrict searches within document structures, searches on index documents, wildcards, and the ability even to search on tag attribute values and attribute names. Now these are the features which were over there those have been observed in 1987, but still today you see the browsers have to come up to this much of level. But these were never popular because they were not the way that we people have been communicating. Now the concept is the dumb user and smart machine, that even the dumbest of the user can handle the machine, and the machine is so intelligent that it helps the user to go ahead. In April 1990, the DEC also came up with the PageLink supported web browsers. Now these were the web browsers for keyboardless touch screen browsers. Now they were allowing each and everything. They were allowing the personalized use of pages, newspaper updated round the clock, personalized newspaper updated round the clock, storing a shopping list, replacing books, and so many things are over there. Even they were allowing dynamically updated maps onto the cars. Now this was the year 1992 when Midas www has come up. Now this was based on Motifex, and it was basically for Unix. Then later on it was modified to Mosaic by NCSEA group, basically for Unix, later on adapted by Apple Macintosh and Micro Windows platforms also. Version 1.10 was released in September 1993. Unfortunately, killer application on our internet dubbed it. Then Mark Anderson, who was the pioneer in that team, left that organization, joined another team under the name Mosaic team, and then he came up with a product known as Netscape. Netscape came in the year 1994. Now Microsoft has not come into the picture so far because Bill Gates has dismissed the use of personal computers for internet surfing and all that. Later on, Microsoft came up with Internet Explorer. They purchased this product from Spyglass Inc. Now from here it started the browser war. This browser war was between the Netscape company and the Microsoft. The wars put the web in the hands of millions of ordinary PC users, and it showed that how the commercialization of the web could damage the standard efforts. Now the two companies, they are the leaders. What they have been doing, that they have been putting up the things for their clients only. They were not looking on the standardizations. They were not looking on the efforts of interoperability. Now what is happening over here, that they are looking for their own share. Now Netscape, once it uses to rule the market in 1996, and its market was up to 86%. It slashed down to it is slashing down very fast right now. The Internet Explorer was 10% in 1996. Now it is the other way around. This is almost, the trend is totally different. Microsoft faced antitrust litigation also, but now this war is over because Netscape has taken the back seat. They have found it out that they cannot match the foot of the Microsoft. In the year 2004, Internet Explorer had reached the peak market share of 92%. Now it is steadily coming down. It is up to 79%. Mozilla is coming up. because of the competition has been posed by Microsoft company. It's not possible for the Netscape company to fund to fund this project to such an extent. Now what they are doing, that they are meeting the competition by going for open sourcing, and they have created a new product known as Mozilla. This company is now owned by America Online, and rather than now they are saying these things as web browsers, these are known as internet suites, because they are providing so many other features the browsers are possessing. Now Mozilla Firefox has been released. It is getting a lot of popularity as per Internet Explorer also. Firefox is basically open source software now, freely downloadable. Now another web browsers it is also available. This is Opera. Now this is a time for handheld devices. Mobiles are there, so many other handheld devices are over there. Web browsers are required, which are specifically mentioned for these handheld devices. And Opera is one which is basically going to cover up this market. The Lynx browser is meant for Unix. Now this is the basically text-based browser only, and this is a browser which is getting a lot of popularity among the vision impaired users, because this is text-based. Even those who are blind or partially blind, they are making use of it. W3M and the Lynx, they are also text-based as well as they are graphical-based browsers. So they are also being used very heavily on Unix environment. Similarly, Mac has been using Netscape and Internet Explorer. Now they are coming up with their own product, and this is a product which is known as Safari. Safari may be available for Vista based Windows also. Now in August 2007, Apple is coming up with the new version of Safari. Now this Safari will be in competition with now Internet Explorer and Netscape. So this was a brief history of browsers. Now what we are finding it out, that there are the three major players in browsers. One is the Internet Explorer, another is the Firefox, Mozilla Firefox, and the third which is going to come up is the Safari. Opera is for handheld devices, and Lynx is basically for vision impaired persons, and which is the text-based. Now these are the few browsers which are over there in the market. The things are changing. A policy has been made in the year 2005 by Microsoft that they are not going to sell Internet Explorer independently. It will be the part of the operating system. The things have changed now. In 2007, a new policy is over there. Now again they are coming up, Internet Explorer 7, which is going to be the very important browsers, a very friendly browsers and a very handy browser, which is going to meet the expectations of the users in the time to come. The third important thing of my discussion is that how these browsers work. In order to understand the working of the browsers, we have to see that what are the protocols and standards they follow. Web browsers, basically they communicate with the web servers. Primarily they make use of HTTP protocol, which is known as Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This is a protocol which allows to fetch web pages onto the client machine through the internet from the web server. The most commonly used HTTP is HTTP/1.1 protocol. Pages are located by means of a URL. URL basically stands for Uniform Resource Locator. Now this is an address of another web page which is available on a web server on the internet. It may be onto a same computer, it may be onto a different computer. It's on a same continent, it can be on a different continent. And this address starts with HTTP:. Many browsers also support other type of URL also, and these protocols can be Gopher, it can be FTP, this can be RTSP, real-time streaming protocol, it can be HTTPS, which is basically for SSL, encrypted version of HTTP, and the file format which is being supported by the browsers is HTML. And the HTML protocol, the file format which is being supported by these web browsers is HTML.